Have you ever wondered how cinnamon, a spice so integral to our baking and cooking, is made? Let's unravel this mystery together. The story of cinnamon begins in lush tropical locales. It primarily grows in the verdant landscapes of Sri Lanka, India, Madagascar, and the Seychelles. Through the sands of time, cinnamon has held significant historical importance. Ancient Egyptians used it for embalming, while Romans considered it more precious than gold. This fragrant spice even sparked explorations and conquests, shaping the geography of the world as we know it today. The origin of cinnamon is as rich and layered as its taste, but behind its warm, sweet aroma is a labor-intensive process. Each stick of cinnamon is the result of careful cultivation, meticulous harvesting, and painstaking processing. So, the next time you sprinkle cinnamon on your favorite dish, remember its exotic origins and the intricate journey it undertook to reach your kitchen. Cinnamon, though it seems simple, has a complex and time-consuming production process. The process of making cinnamon begins with the cinnamon tree. Known scientifically as the cinnamomum tree, this unassuming plant holds within its bark the rich, aromatic spice we all love. Native to Sri Lanka, the cinnamon tree has found its way across the globe, thanks to the spice trade. But the cinnamon tree isn't just a sapling that sprouts cinnamon overnight. No, it requires time, care, and patience. The tree needs to mature for a full 2 years before it's ready to give up its flavorful secret. These 2 years allow the tree to develop the necessary oils that give cinnamon its distinctive taste and scent. Imagine tending to a plant for 2 long years, carefully nurturing it, waiting for it to mature, all the while knowing the incredible bounty it holds within. But such is the life of a cinnamon farmer. So after 2 years of patient waiting, our cinnamon tree is ready for harvesting. Harvesting cinnamon isn't as simple as picking a fruit off a tree. It's a meticulous process that requires careful execution and a great deal of patience. First, you need to find a mature cinnamon tree. Not just any tree, but one that is at least 2 years old. The older the tree, the better the quality of the cinnamon. Now, it's not the tree itself that's valuable, but rather the inner bark, which is the source of the cinnamon we all know and love. To get to this inner bark, the tree has to be cut down, usually at ground level. Yes, it may seem drastic, but don't worry. The tree has an amazing ability to regenerate from the stump, ensuring a continuous supply of cinnamon for years to come. Once the tree is cut down, the next step is to remove the outer bark. This is done by making a longitudinal cut down the length of the branches and then carefully peeling off the outer bark. This step requires a deft hand because the outer bark needs to be removed without damaging the precious inner bark. Now comes the most critical part, revealing the inner bark. This is where the magic happens, where we find what we've been working towards, the cinnamon. The inner bark, when exposed, is a pale brown color and has a distinctly sweet, spicy scent. This is the part of the tree that, once dried, will curl into the familiar cinnamon sticks we use in our kitchens. After the inner bark is revealed, it's gently scraped off the branch in long, thin strips. This is a delicate process that requires a steady hand and a sharp knife. The strips of inner bark are then left to dry in the sun, where they curl into quills, the first step towards becoming the cinnamon we use in our cooking. And that's how the first step towards our beloved cinnamon is completed. Each strip of bark, each cinnamon quill, represents a labor of love, a dedication to the craft that transforms a simple tree into a spice that flavors our lives. This is the art of harvesting cinnamon. Once the tree is cut and the bark is revealed, the real work begins. This stage of the process is where we truly start to see the transformation of the cinnamon tree into the aromatic spice we all know and love. It all begins with the inner bark, the layer just beneath the rough outer surface. Imagine this, skilled hands armed with a small sharp knife, moving with precision and care. They begin to make incisions into the bark, cutting out long, thin strips. Each strip is a delicate piece of craftsmanship, requiring a gentle touch and a keen eye. It's a labor-intensive process, But it's this attention to detail that ensures the quality of the cinnamon. These strips of inner bark, they hold the essence of what makes cinnamon so special. And so they are treated with the utmost respect. They're laid out to dry, but not in the blazing sun. No, they're given time in the shade where they can slowly lose their moisture without losing their flavor. As the strips dry, something magical happens. They begin to curl inward, naturally forming the shape we associate with cinnamon sticks. It's a slow process, this curling. It can take up to several days for the strips to fully dry and curl. But it's a process that can't be rushed. After all, good things come to those who wait, right? So, we wait. We watch as the strips shrink and darken in color, becoming more and more like the cinnamon we're familiar with. It's a fascinating transformation, and it's one that's steeped in tradition. This method of processing cinnamon hasn't changed much over the centuries. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of this beloved spice. Now, our cinnamon is almost ready, but there's one more crucial step. The dried strips, now curled into tight, aromatic scrolls, need to be ground into the fine, powdery spice we're used to seeing in our kitchen cupboards. But that's a story for another scene. The final step in the cinnamon-making process is grinding. This is where we transform our dried cinnamon sticks into a fine powder, the form most of us are familiar with and often use in our kitchens. Grinding is a relatively straightforward process, but it plays a crucial role in unlocking the full potential of cinnamon's aromatic flavors. The dried cinnamon sticks are placed into a grinding machine. These machines come in various types and sizes, from small kitchen-friendly models to industrial-sized ones. Regardless of its size, the core function remains the same: to pulverize the cinnamon sticks into a fine powder. The sticks are fed into the machine where they meet a series of sharp steel blades. These blades spin at high speeds, breaking down the cinnamon sticks into smaller particles. It's a process akin to the way a wood chipper operates, but on a much smaller scale. As the blades spin, the cinnamon sticks are pulverized, releasing their oils and breaking down into tiny particles. It's these particles that form the cinnamon powder we're so familiar with. The grinding process doesn't just convert the cinnamon sticks into a more usable form, it also helps to release the volatile oils trapped within the bark. These oils are responsible for cinnamon's distinctive aroma and flavor. Once the grinding process is complete, the resulting powder is sifted. This ensures a uniform consistency and removes any larger pieces that may have survived the grinding process. The result is a fine aromatic cinnamon powder ready to be packaged and shipped off to kitchens around the world. But the magic of cinnamon doesn't end there. This versatile spice can be used in a multitude of dishes, from sweet to savory. It adds a warm, sweet aroma to baked goods and a depth of flavor to savory dishes. It's a true powerhouse of the spice world, and now you know how it's made. And with that, our cinnamon is ready to add a burst of flavor to our dishes. So there you have it, the journey of cinnamon from tree to kitchen. Our journey began with the cinnamomum tree, a tropical evergreen native to Sri Lanka and southern parts of India. It's the birthplace of cinnamon, a spice revered for its fragrant aroma and distinctive flavor. This tree is more than just a plant. It's a symbol of centuries-old traditions, a testament to the spice trade that shaped our world as we know it. From the growth of the cinnamomum tree, we delved into the art of harvesting cinnamon. This is a labor-intensive process, usually carried out by skilled workers who have honed their craft over generations. Harvesting involves the careful peeling off of the inner bark of the tree, a delicate operation that requires precision and patience. Once harvested, the cinnamon must go through a meticulous process of fermentation and drying. The inner bark, once removed, is left to ferment for a period and then meticulously dried under controlled conditions. This stage is crucial as it allows the characteristic cinnamon flavor to develop, imbuing it with that unique sweet, spicy taste we all know and love. Finally, we arrived at the stage of grinding the cinnamon. The dried cinnamon sticks are ground into a fine powder, ready to be packaged and shipped off to kitchens around the world. The grinding process, like every other step in the journey of cinnamon, is steeped in tradition. It's a process that, despite the advent of modern machinery, still retains its traditional roots, a nod to the spice's rich history. The journey of cinnamon is a fascinating tale of tradition, patience, and craftsmanship. It's a spice that has traveled across centuries and continents, from the lush forests of Sri Lanka to the bustling spice markets of the Middle East, and finally, to your kitchen. Next time you sprinkle cinnamon on your dish, remember the fascinating journey it took to get there. Thank you for joining us on this spicy adventure.